Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. So we got one for you. They always getting on social media to brag about how they done broke their marriages up, and then they be wanting men to marry them. She'll want a husband later, right?
I walked away from a 12-year relationship with 2 kids. We had been together since I was 16 years old. I had 2 children as a teenager. And I can honestly say that as young adults raising 2 children, we did pretty okay. But about 6 years into the relationship, I began to feel stuck. While he was sticking to and accomplishing all of the goals that he had set for himself, I was feeling like my life was just becoming like a revolving door of mother and wife duties. And then the goals that I had for myself would come last. I would come up with all these plans on how we could, relocate to California as a family. And he would entertain it, but he never spoke life into it. And when it all hit the fan, I walked away from everything. And you know what was the hardest? The judgment and criticism that I received, especially from people I thought would be in my corner. After leaving that relationship, an overflow of blessings and opportunities started to come my way. It has been an extremely long journey of healing. I didn't know who I was outside of being a mom and a wife. I am that too, but I'm also more than just that. Now I am getting to know LaBrittany. I walked away from a 12-year relationship.
Now, I'm going to start out, before I get into the things that she said, I'm going to start out by saying, there is, or there can be, a such thing as stagnation in a relationship. Really, no matter when you get into a relationship, but when you do that, when you're really young and you have kids and y'all are teenagers, there's a lot of changes you're going to go through, especially in the next decade, because there's a big difference, especially if you are learning from life and life experiences during that time. There's a big difference who you are at age 16 than there is at age 26, right? Because you're still young, you still getting your feet wet, you still like learning early life lessons about being an adult, and about how to move around in this world, not as a child, especially when you have the added responsibility of having to raise a child at that stage and point in your life. So there can be a point where you're like, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I? There's a small portion of your mind that does that. That's the only lifeline I'll give here. Because here's the thing, even with that being said, these are still decisions that were made. You had a baby when you were a teen, and then you encountered the rare circumstance where you and the presumably teenage boy, I'm assuming he probably wasn't too much older than you. So if you were 16, he was what, probably 18, something like that, not too much older. So he's a teenager as well during this time. He's a young man. At most, at most he might have been 19 or 20. You know what I mean? I'm not getting that this was a huge age gap because she was saying how both of them were young, right? So not only were you a young woman, I'm gonna say young woman instead of teenager, because anytime you have a child that you need to raise and you and the father of that child gonna raise them, you done entered into womanhood, no matter how young. So then you have a young man as well who now has to shoulder all of these responsibilities, right? He has to say, okay, instead of me making the excuse that, well, I'm young and I don't want to be bogged down and tied down with kids and a family and a woman and all that kind of stuff because I'm still young, you know what I'm saying? I still want to do what I want to do. So, I'm just going to let you handle the kids and I'm going to go do what I want to do. You had a young man who said, you know what? We did make this choice. I'm gonna uphold my end of this bargain. So y'all begin to live as a family, raising the two children that you have. From what she's saying, he created a plan and was executing this plan, likely a plan she agreed to, right? She agreed to whatever plan he had, whatever he said, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to forge a life for us. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Step by step. And we're going to be okay. We're going to make it because I'm not going to leave you as a teenage single mom to raise kids by yourself. I am going to help you. I'm the father of these children. We've been together since we was young and we're going to build this life for us. That's rare. And I'm saying it's rare because usually men that's real young like that, they don't be in position to do that at all. That don't even really be their mindset necessarily, right? They be trying to think about what kind of school they're going to go to, if they're going to go to college or if they're going to go to the military or, you know what I'm saying, what they're going to do with their life after high school and things of that nature. So here you found yourself in a very fortunate situation because it could have been very unfortunate. And according to you in this video, he's doing without fail what he said he was going to do. You, on the other hand, not. So he's performing despite his youth and inexperience. He's performing. This is and 12 years hence, he's still reaching the goals and sticking to the original plan that you guys had. You mentioned I wanted to move to California as a family. Said he would entertain it but not speak life into it. That's because he's the one making likely the bulk of the money. Now I'm just gonna go out there and say she was probably working or something. She didn't say she was a stay-at-home mom. So I'm assuming that she was working and also bringing in some type of income, right? But at the same time, he's the breadwinner. He's the leader. He's the man of the house and the man of the family. No man, unless there was a very specific reason. But if you didn't grow up in California and that just happened to be the place where you always been, or there's not a very specific career opportunity or reason why you would move to California of all states, I don't blame him for not going. Why would you go to move to one of the highest what they call it? The term escapes me, but you know what I'm trying to say. The cost of living, the high cost of living That's one of the highest costs of living states in the United States. That's one of the highest ones. So again, if you don't have a specific reason, career opportunities, something that's really, you're going to be financially better off going there. Or if you don't just, you were just born and raised in California, some people just don't leave the state that they in or the city that they was born in, right? Why would you ever move to California just to kick it, just over there, spending way too much money for you, your wife, and 2 children, and with the possibility that there may be even more children? Because if that's a 12-year marriage from the time she was 16, she's not even quite 30 yet, and he might have just be hitting 30 or in his real early 30s. So without a financial plan as to why you would move to a way high cost of living state, I don't blame him for not wanting to go with she's saying he entertained it. That was just him being nice. He wasn't trying to just shut her down and tell her shut up, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 blah. He would hear her out. But as the leader, he has to be the one to make the correct decision, because if she want to go out there and they go out there and then they don't be doing as well financially, she gonna be looking at him, well, why did you move us out here? Well, you wanted to move out here. I mean, but you the leader. I mean, if you knew it wasn't gonna really work out, I mean, why would you let us do this? She would have something to say about that, right? Because what a lot of these chicks don't want to say is a lot of times women need to be saved from their own decisions, right? Because we're not really the problem solvers, are we? So if he's seeing the long game, like our money not gonna stretch over there, it actually is gonna be restricted. And he know her, listen, you're not going to take less than what I'm providing for you right now, the level of comfort that we living at right now, whatever that level is, right? You're not gonna take a step down just to move, just to live over in California, just to say we living in California. Like, do we have family over there? Like, what's the point of that? What would be the point? You obviously, your argument for moving to California was not compelling. He saw no real purpose in it. He saw no real value in it. He didn't see how that was going to elevate y'all as a family. So no, we didn't do it. Go cry in the car. You will be all right. Then she says, she makes it a competition while he was, you know what I'm saying, reaching all the goals for himself. All the goals that I set for myself was on the back burner. What goals? Let's deal with one thing at a time. If this is the man that's taking care of his family, there are no goals that's just his goals that don't have no benefit for his family. Let's start there. There are no goals that he's trying to reach that take a lot of time and effort to where the result of him reaching the goal and don't got no benefit for the family, just benefit for him. He not trying to do nothing that benefit everybody. He's just trying to do stuff to benefit him. Right? That's what you would have us believe. That he was only doing things that benefited him, but you and the kids was left on the back burner, you know what I'm saying? And y'all wasn't really benefiting from the whatever moves and stuff he was making. Like, get out of here. Yes, you are. His whole thing from the beginning has been, what can I do to benefit everybody, not just me? Do you think that whatever plans he has wasn't derailed at the same time they was derailed for you when y'all decided to have sex without no condom and have a baby as teenagers? You don't think the trajectory of where he thought his life was going to be didn't change? He probably had some other ideas about where he was going to be or what he was going to be doing by age 30 or whatever. He probably thought that by this time he would just be looking for a wife and not already have an established family that he has had to take care of and figure out a way to take care of, and as y'all call it, man up and take care of his family as a young man. You don't think that there were sacrifices on his side too? You don't think that there were things that he may have wanted to do that having a family put a roadblock into, and then he have to just put that out of his mind and say, you know what? It is what it is, though. Like, I have to deal with the reality of the situation, not what I would have liked it to be. And you too old for this now. This is some wishy-washy stuff that you would have did at 16 or 17. You about 28. You knocking 30 in the butt. You too old. Your oldest child is at least 12. And so you would rather break your family up for no real reason. I heard no reason. I didn't hear a reason. I did not hear any reason that made any valid sense to me as to why you would break your family up, because you quote unquote trying to find yourself. Girl, if you don't get out of here, because you were supposed to still go on that journey as a married woman. Well, I don't know if they say you married, but might as well been. Y'all been together that whole time and them kids his. So I'm assuming y'all live together and everything. So you might as well have been married. Okay. You live in the same life, more or less. You were supposed to go on that journey anyway. I don't know why these chicks think that the journey of finding out who you are has to be done alone. Because women used to get married young all the time. She gonna figure out she don't want to know who she is as a single woman. She don't want to know that woman. That's a different woman. That's not the same woman. Married me and single me is not the same person. You undergo changes that you have to undergo because you no longer have a husband. So when my former husband passed away, I had about 6 years of singleness. I was a different animal. Okay? Without that support system of your husband, without the covering of your husband, you gotta move differently. You have to move differently in the world. All of the responsibility, see, it's different. All of the responsibility is on you. Nobody to help share any of the load. Everything is you. And I would have hated to have had to do that with kids. The only fortunate part of that is I just had me to take care of. But you still got to figure that out, because some people can't figure that out. So you got to figure out how to take care of yourself, you know what I'm saying, without being a burden on other people and all of this other kind of stuff. You grown, you're an adult. So you have to figure it out like other adults. All of the decision making got to be mine, and it better be right. Or I'm going to pay the consequences all by myself. Nobody else to blame. If you make the wrong decision and you make a misstep and something go wrong, you can't look at your husband, because you don't have one, to say, man, why did you lead us over here? Nope, you got to look in the mirror. You want to complain to somebody? Look in the mirror. Complain. Complain to the person you see in the mirror, and then move on. That's what single is. I did not enjoy it, because it is a different life that you have to live with a different mindset, because there's no support and there's no safety net. She'll find this out soon enough, like they usually do when they willingly leave their husbands for no real reason, talking about they trying to find themselves. And all that they're going to find is a bunch of eggplants in the street. That's the only thing that's going to be found. They're not leaving to have no real spiritual journey. She ain't leaving to go nowhere to be a monk, you know what I'm saying, in a monastery to find God. Like, that ain't where she going. She just finna be in the street now. Let's be real. That's what it's about. She just finna be in the street. She has a fear of missing out. It was other dudes that she could have been with. She didn't have her whole face. She didn't have girl, and she gonna see it. She gonna see it real quick too. Real quick. That dudes don't want nothing but, you know what I'm saying, to smash you. They are not out here trying to wife you or nothing like that, especially if they figure out, oh, you had a good situation and you just left it. Oh, girl, bye. I'm not about to invest myself because old boy already invested himself 12 years into you to for nothing. For nothing. To deal with a broken relationship that he probably got blindsided by. You probably didn't tell him this. You probably didn't tell him that you had one foot out of the door of the relationship. I'm willing to bet you didn't. Now you on TikTok or whatever, putting your face on, talking about so many blessings came your way. You mean so many eggplants came your way, girl? If you don't, because all you had to do was be mature enough to have this conversation with your husband and say, you know what I'm saying? We've been supporting each other the whole time. And there are a few things that I would like to see, you know what I'm saying, if I could do as well. I always thought about being a such and such. I always thought about being able to such and such. And now that the kids are older and they're not so small and we haven't had a third one, I was thinking maybe, I could go back to school, or maybe I could, get into this thing that I kind of wanted to do, and just have the conversation with your husband and impress it upon him how important this is to you and why you want to do it and what's the value in doing whatever it is that you said you was trying to do. And I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have just entertained it just to shut you up and so you wouldn't complain about it, but also to just really think about it. Like, okay, she really presented that to me. You know what I'm saying? And it do make sense. You know what I'm saying? The kids are older. They're not so small. And so, they can kind of stay at home low key, to a certain degree. And I don't know, maybe we can work something out like that. Maybe we can. Maybe there's a way that we can work out something as to where she can feel like she's contributing more, or, you know what I'm saying, that she's doing more or something like that. Because a lot of times that be what it be sometimes. Like, just want to be able to say you're doing more than what you're doing. If you had presented that to your husband, I'm just gonna say husband, if you had presented that to him in that manner, he likely would have tried to figure out, okay, well, that don't sound bad, because he young and you young. Y'all not old. I say, you know what? Maybe we can do that. That don't sound too bad. Baby, I thought about what you were saying to me the other day. I got some people I can talk to about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see, and then we'll see from there, what's going on. But it just seemed like to me, she wanted a lot of nonsense that he wasn't feeling, and because it didn't make no sense to their relationship and their situation, and then she just got frustrated with that because she couldn't do what she wanted to do. He was actually holding up system, order, and structure, and she didn't want to be held accountable to that, so she just left. Girl. Anyway, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.